So, good evening everyone. We are the Group 1 and our topic for today is all about the law regulating transportations companies. The first reporter will be Ruilin Rosales, followed by Abiharjin Haramari, and the third reporter will be Conejel Shani Glaire Jane, and the fourth will be Porta Antoinette, and the fifth will be Catet Fernandez, and lastly we have Catalan Maria Elzame.
Good day everyone, my name is Roylin Rosales. I am from the Group 1. I am the first reporter of this group. So our topic is about the Chapter 3, the laws regulating transportation companies. Objectives of this lesson first is we will able to identify the laws affecting the transportation sector. Second, to identify the rights of passenger of commercial transportations. Third, explain the relevance of these laws to the promotion of tourism in the country. So, my topic is about the kanang law on common carriers. Sa law on common carriers, we have the two parts. The first part is the common carriers. Ikaduha is ang private carriers. So, mag-start ako sa common carriers. When we say common carriers, these are the individuals, these are the businesses that offer their services to the public. Their services is open to the public. They offer their services with a compensation, a fee, or in Bisaya pa, bayad. Okay? Open sila sa public. So, kinsa man ni silang mga common carriers. Kaning mga common carriers, mao ni ang makita nato sa tong adlaw-adlaw, most especially kita students. Mao ni sila kanang mga jeepneys, mga taxi, mga tricycle, mga bus, mga trains, any kind of transportation nga open sa public. And these common carriers, kuan ni sila kanang under ni sila sa law. They are subject to laws. Okay? Ang tawag ani nga law is the Civil Code of the Philippines in Article 1766. This law is all about the obligations and all about the responsibilities of the common carriers. Aside from that, ang kaning mga common carriers, dili era mga passengers or people ang ilahang gi-transport. Apil pod ang mga goods or products. Okay? They transport goods and passengers to the public with a compensation or bayad. Kaning common carriers, it's in the law in Article 1732. Okay. Na-explain na nako ang common carriers. Let's go to the private carriers. From the word itself, private, meaning it's obviously not open to the public, kay private man siya. Kaning private carriers, they offer their services privately. Okay? I mean, kana ganing they transport only goods. They solely focused on goods. Dili sila mo transport og people. So kinsa maning mga private carriers. Kaning mga private carriers, best example ani akong mahatag is mao ni sila kanang mga businesses or mga firms nga naay business transportation. Example kay FedEx. Unsa pa man kanang Mandawi Foam. Kana ganing they have transportation solely focused for businesses purposes lang. Okay, ilahang kaugalingong products or goods ilahang gi-deliver or gi-transport. And aside from that, pwede po di ay sila mo transport og people, pero ilahang kaugalingong mga employees. Okay? Sulod sa ilahang business. Mao na siya ang private carriers. Okay, next, we will be having the nature of contract of carriage. Naingon dito, kanang nature of contract of carriage, ako sa i-read ha. A passenger transport contract is unlike typical contracts due to the special relationship between the airlines and the public. What I understood is that ang kaning nature of contract, lahi ko ni siya big difference, dako kuno kaayo og big difference sa kanang makita kanang mga contract sa airlines o kanang sa land lang. I mean, it's literal nga lahi siya. It's because kaning airlines mas kuan ni siya og security, mas kuan siya dapat og safety sa ngalan nga airlines mulupad ba ang di ba, like di siya basta-basta ang dili basta-basta iyang safety nga gi mandate sa kanang sa law sa ilaha, mas higpit kay airline siya unlike sa kanang naalang sa land. Okay, next topic, we'll be having the responsibility of common carriers. Okay, responsibility or obligations, unsa man ang mga obligations sa mga common carriers. First, we have the article 1733. Ang gaingon dito, let me read it. Ang gaingon, common carriers, from the nature of their business and for reasons of public policy, are bound to observe extraordinary diligence in the vigilance over the goods and for the safety of the passengers transported by them according to all the circumstances of each case. Kaning first article 1733 for the responsibility naigingon diri nga extraordinary diligence. When we say diligence, careful. The common carriers, these individuals or these businesses must observe, must practice diligence or being careful, like kanang maland nila safely ang ilahang mga passengers o ang mga goods. Dapat daw sila sa kaning article, ang giingon lang ani, ang pinaka-thought lang ani is extraordinary diligence. Ikaduha, we have the article 1755. Let me read it. Ang giingon is, a common carrier is bound to carry the passengers safely as far as human care and foresight can provide, using the utmost diligence of very cautious persons with due regard for all the circumstances. So, likely, kuan ra sila sa tawag ani, interconnected ra sila sa first article, which is article 1733. Kanang article 1755, kuan siya, dapat maland nimo, ako na siyang na kuan sulti, dapat maland nimo ang sa tawag ani imong mga passengers ug ang mga goods safely sa ilahang location or sa destination. Okay? Kaya katang article 1733, extraordinary diligence dapat i-observe sa mga common carriers. Ang ikaduhang article 1755 kay, they must carry the passengers safely for as human care and foresight can provide. Ikatulo kay ang article 1756. Let me read it. Ang giingon diri kay, in case of death of or injuries to passengers, common carriers are presumed to have been at fault or to have acted negligently unless they prove that they observed extraordinary diligence as prescribed in articles 1733 and 1755. Ang giingon, ang pasabot aning article 1756 is that in case of any death or injuries nga mahitabo sa mga passengers or sa usa ka passenger, kay makuan siya nga automatic or ma-presumed nga ang fault maadto sa common carriers. Okay, which is kuan sad ba, like luoy sad, di ba? Maadto kuno ang fault sa ilaha unless mapamatud-an sa kana nga individual or sa kana nga common carrier nga nag-observe sila og 100% safety and security sa ilahang sa tawag ana passenger. If makahatag sila og proof nga dili sa ilaha ang fault nga nahitabo na sa passenger, then possible dili sila makuanan og sa tawag ani makasuhan, dili makasuhan sila or ang business itself. The last article for the responsibility of common carriers, we have the Article 1757. Let me read it. Okay. Ang giingon ani nga Article 1757, the responsibility of a common carrier for the safety of passengers as required in Articles 1733 and 1755 cannot be dispensed with or lessened by stipulation, by the posting of notices, and any statement on tickets or otherwise. So, ang nasabtan dire is that kaning Article 1757 is that dili kuno malessened or makuhaan ang responsibility sa mga common carriers. Dili makuhaan ilang responsibilities, ang ilang mga obligations, even if naghatag na sila og mga sign warnings, nagkuhaan na sila og kanang any statements, mga posting of notices, dili makuhaan ilahang obligations, dili makuhaan ilahang mga responsibilities. Dili mag-stop ilahang obligations diha just because they give warning signs or statements sa ilahang mga passengers. Okay? Like, obligation is an obligation jud. Wala siya. The last one of my topic is the liabilities of common carriers for the acts of employees and strangers. This is from Article 1759. Ang giingon ani kay if ever there are kanang any deaths or injuries nga mahitabo sa passenger, kay liable kuno ana ang mga common carriers. Okay? Liable ko na sila ana ma-presumed na sa ilaha ang fault. Okay? Kinaay gibutang nga this liability of the common carriers, okay? This liability of the common carriers does not cease upon proof that they exercise the diligence of a good father of a family in the selection and supervision of their employees. Kung niingon ko ganiha nga, if ever na injuries or deaths nga mahitabo silang passenger, di ba, liable man ana ang common carriers. Di ba? Liable man ana. Pero, bisan pag ma-presumed nga ilaha ang fault kung naay bati or naay death or injury nga mahitabo ana sa ilang passenger, kay if and only naa lang sila proof nga they practice being diligent sa ilang, sa kana nga paglupad nila butang ta sa airline, kung naa lang sila proof nga dili sa ilaha ang sayop, then masis ang kuan na sa tawag na bali ang sala dili adto sa ilaha, basta lang daw naa kay proof or pruweba nga dili sa inyo ha. Libog ba? Basta mao siya. Thank you.
Hello, good evening everyone. I am Jane Haramaria Vihar, the second reporter, and I'm going to continue the discussion which is entitled Enforcement of Liability for Common Carriers. So, before we proceed, first I'm going to discuss to you what is enforcement of liability for common carriers. So, this means that making sure that company providing public transportations like buses or trains follow rules to keep passengers and cargo safe. So if they don't follow these rules and something goes wrong, they are responsible for fixing it or compensating people who are affected. So next, the liability of common carriers can be enforced on the following causing of actions. So first, in case of death or injury caused to passengers, the victim may file a case of breach or of contract or carriage or culpa contractual against the owner of the common carrier. So if a passenger gets hurt or dies while using public transportations, they can take legal actions against the company that runs the transportation service. So they can do this by claiming that the company didn't fulfill its promise to keep passengers safe. So which is like maunang breaking a contract. So this legal action is called breach of contract of carriage or culpa contractual. It is a way for the injured passengers or their family to seek compensations from transportation company for the harm or loss suffered during the journey. So, mao nang gitawag og breach contract or culpa contractual, wala nila is because wala nila gi-fulfill ang promise nga naa sa ilahang contract. So, all the transportation services companies has its own contract just to make sure nga ang mga passengers or cargo kay safe. So, sa number 2, in case of death or injury caused to a stranger or a pedestrian, the victims may file a criminal complaints against the driver of the common carriers for reckless imprudence resulting of homicide and damage to property. So, kanang if someone who isn't on the vehicle, like wala siya sa vehicle, like a person walking on a street, and well, there's a person walking on a street, gets hurt or killed by a public transport vehicle, they can report the driver to the police for careless or dangerous driving, which can lead to criminal charges like causing someone's death and damaging property. So, mao ning gitawag og culpa akiliana kay wala gani siya sa contract. So balikon nako ha. So when balikon nako ang duha basin naglibog mo. So when the passengers is in the public transport vehicle, that's the time na ang company ana nga vehicle kay makasuhan. So they will pay for the compensations to the person who are affected. So mao na siya ang gitawag nga culpa contractual. Kay wala man siya ni follow sa contract kung unsay naa sa contract. So on the other hand, if wala gani siya sa vehicle, then naglakaw siya sa street, then nabanggaan siya sa public transport vehicle, kay that's the time na ang driver jud ana ang kasuhan tungod kay careless og dangerous iyang pagdrive. Duha na ang criminal charges sa driver causing someone's death and damaging owner's property. So, next slide, we have damages recoverable from common carriers. So, in an action based on culpa contractual or culpa aquiliana, the damages that are recoverable are as follows: actual damages, unrealized profits, moral damages, exemplary damages, award for death indemnity, and award for attorney's fees. So, when we say actual damages, this covers the money spent on things like medicine and hospitals. This covers the money spent on things like medicine and hospital bills, property damage, repair or replacement cost, mga damage sa smartphone or computers na gidala sa passenger during the accident. The cost of repair or replacement may be included as actual damages. So, next we have letter B, unrealized profits. So, this is, when we say unrealized profits, is mo ni siya ang money that the deceased passengers would have earned in the future if they hadn't passed away. So, it's calculated based on how many years they were expected to live and work. So, sa C, moral damages, they can be awarded when someone dies in an accident or on a trip, or when their family goes through a lot of emotional pain because of the accidents, it can also be given if the transportation company acted dishonestly, even if no one died. So, D, exemplary or corrective damages. These are given as a lesson to others or to correct a wrongdoing when a transportation company behaves very badly or recklessly. So, sa letter E, award for death indemnity. So, this is money provided based on current court decision when someone dies in an accident. And F, lastly we have F, award for attorney's fees. So, you can get these fees back when you win exemplary damages in court. So, next slide, we have the law. Natures of airline, bus, and shipping tickets. The best evidence of a contract or carriage is the passage ticket. So, under jurisprudence, an airline, bus, or shipping tickets is a contract of adhesion, considering that all the provisions thereof are prepared and drafted only by the carrier. So, the most important proof of a transportation agreement is the ticket you receive when you travel by plane. When you travel by plane, bus, or ship. So, however, these tickets are often considered one-sided contracts because the transportation company creates all the rules and terms without input from the passengers. So, that's all for my report. The next reporter will be Shani Claire Conejos.
So good evening everyone. Today I'll be taking you through the intricate regulatory framework governing the transportation business in the Philippines. So the Department of Transportation and Communication, or the DOTC, is a primary entity for policy, planning, programming, and regulation of transportation and communication systems. So its responsibilities include promoting, developing, and regulating dependable networks. As outlined in our first slide, the Department of Transportation and Communication, or what we call DOTC, stands as a cornerstone of this regulatory structure. It serves as a driving force behind policy formulation, strategic planning, and the regulation of our transportation and communication systems. The DOTC's mission extends to promoting, developing, and ensuring the reliability of our networks for both transportation and communication services. Now, let's go into the specific regulations governing air transportation in the Philippines. So, the Legislative Act number 3909 dating back to 1931 marked a crucial step by creating an office under the Department of Commerce and Communications. This office was tasked with overseeing aviation matters, laying the foundation for the enforcement of rules governing both commercial and private aviation. Fast forward to 1952 and the enactment of RA number 776, known as the Civil Aeronautics Act of the Philippines. This legislation defined the powers and duties of the Civil Aeronautics Board, or CAB, and established comprehensive regulations for civil aviation. Subsequently, in 1987, Executive Order number 125 created the Air Transportation Office, or ATO, handling the technical and operational aspects of civil aviation. So the Civil Aeronautics Board, or CAB, regulates the economic aspect of air transportation, supervises and controls air carriers, their property rights, equipment, facilities, and franchise. So our Civil Aeronautics Board takes center stage, regulating the economic aspect of air transportation. It exercises general supervision, regulation, and control over air carriers, ensuring compliance with standards and regulations. Moving on to our fourth slide, the Air Transportation Office or ATO focuses on the technical and operational sides of civil aviation. So the ATO is tasked with establishing and enforcing rules and regulations for the inspection and registration of all aircraft within our borders. Additionally, it plays a vital role in prescribing and enforcing rules to ensure compliance with laws governing air transportation. So, registration aircraft. In here, only aircraft owned by or leased to a citizen of the Philippines and which are not registered under the laws of any foreign country may be eligible for registration. So the fifth slide brings us to a critical point, the registration of aircraft. So eligibility is key here. Only aircraft owned by or leased to a citizen of the Philippines and not registered in any foreign country are eligible for registration. This ensures a streamlined and controlled process for aircraft operating within our airspace. Next is the regulation of the shipping industry. The Maritime Industry Authority or MARINA was created on June 1, 1974 with the issuance of Presidential Decree number 474 to integrate the development, promotion, and regulation of the maritime industry in the country. So, pinakalas, let's navigate through the regulations governing our shipping industry. So it says that in 1974, the Maritime Industry Authority or MARINA was established through Presidential Decree number 474. So this integrated body oversees the development, promotion, and regulation of our maritime industry. So in the last slide, the passage of RA number 9295 in 2004, MARINA was granted specific functions including vessel registration, the establishment of routes for domestic ship operators, and the inspection of vessels to ensure compliance with safety standards and regulations. As we conclude, this overview provides a snapshot of the meticulous regulatory framework that governs transportation in the Philippines. From air transportation to the shipping industry, each component plays a crucial role in ensuring the safety, efficiency, and reliability of our nation's transport networks.
So, as continuation for the report, I am Antoinette Porta. So, authority to operate. No franchise, certificate, or any other form authorization awarded by MARINA for the carriage of cargo or passengers or both in domestic trade shall be granted except to domestic ship owners or operators. So this means that MARINA, Maritime Industry Authority, will only give permission or license to operate cargo or passenger ship within a country waters to people or companies who are citizens or residents of that country. So they want to ensure that domestic local ship owners to business instead of foreign entities. So next is regulation of the land transportation. The history of the land transportation in the Philippines goes way back with our ancestors used animals for moving people or goods. So, ang sa una man god is ang land transportation sa una sa diri sa Philippines na ang ilang gigamit kay kuang kanang animal sa pagtransport o pagdeliver. So sa pagdeliver po sa animals kay sa food kay animals gihapon ilang gigamit. So sa karon atong transportation is upgrade naman gud siya, instead of animals is naa-jud sakyanan nga gipangbuhat like mga bus, taxi o kuan kanang uban pa. So karon or nowadays naa na tay LTO og LTFRB. So ang LTO kay LTO or Land Transportation Office handles vehicle registration, licensing of owners, driver, and more. So, ang LTO may mo-handle sa pag-register sa vehicle o sa pagpa-license. So, ang Next is Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB. So, ang kuan kanang ang LTFRB kay mao ni siya ang kuan kanang naana siya kuan kanang functions diri. So, muhatag lang ko kuan kanang uban functions pero naa jud ang uban ani is naa siya sa libro. So, ang first kay prescribe routes of service, economically viable capacities and zones or areas of operation of public transportation services provided by motorized vehicles in accordance with the Public Land Transportation Development Plan and programs approved by the Department of Transportation and Communication. So, ang kuan di ay kaning first kay kuan ang LTFRB kay sila ang mo decide nga sa mga ruta sa capacities and areas kung unsa kalayo o gi-approve ni siya sa Department of Transportation and Communication. So next is kuan kanang to issue, amend, revise, suspend, or cancel certificates of public convenience or permits authorizing the operation of public land transportation services provided by motorized vehicles and to prescribe the appropriate terms and conditions. So, kung bali sila ang muusab o mubuhat o mu-cancel sa mga permit o sila sad ang mubuhat sa rules sa ilang gibuhat nga permit. So next is we have the accreditation of transportation vehicles by the Department of Tourism. This involves the minimum requirements for the operation, establishment, and maintenance of transportation vehicles in order to be accredited by the Department of Tourism. So kinahanglan ma-meet nila ang mga minimum kanang requirements kung unsay need i-maintain para ma-accredited by the Department of Tourism. So next is we have the standard requirements for tourism and tourism land transport vehicles. To the registrable, every tourist transport must be found roadworthy upon inspection by a team from Department of Tourism. So this means that before a tourism transport vehicle can be officially registered, it must pass inspection conducted by a team from Department of Tourism. They need to make sure the vehicle is safe and in good condition for carrying tourists. So next is standard requirements for tourist water transport vessel. This should be at least one restroom each with toilet and washing facilities for male and female located at the passenger accommodation area. So, ang pasabot ani niya kay kuan kanang this means that in the area where passengers are accommodated, there must be at least one restroom for men and one for women. So this restroom should have toilets and places for people to wash their hands. Next is standard requirements for tourist air transportation. Adequate life-saving device and adequate communication equipment should be provided in accordance with the requirements prescribed by the ATO. So, ang kuan ani is kuan kanang pasabot ani kay that there must be enough life-saving equipment and communication device on board, and they should meet the standard set by the ATO. Kuan kanang presumably an aviation or transportation authority. This is to ensure safety in case of emergencies. So naa siya kuan diri kanang naa siya gikuan dere na kanang daghan man ni siya dere. So kuan muhatag lang ko kuan kanang gamay. So first is mayor's permit and or municipalities. So, this is a document you need from the local government. Typically, the mayor's office to legally operate your business within a specific city or municipality. It shows that you have their approval to run your business in that area. So, mao ni ang imong kinahanglanon para imo jud mapakita ba nga ikaw kadang naka-approval sa imong business. So mao ni ang mayor's permit and or municipal license. So next is business name certificate and all amendments thereto if any, in the case single proprietorship. So if you're a sole owner of a business, this is the certificate that proves your business name is registered and any changes or updates to it should be recorded. So this it's necessary to keep your business name information accurate and up to date. So mao ni ang kinahanglan kanang need jud kag business name and certificate nagikan sa kaning kauban ni sa mayor's permit and municipal license. So that's all my report, Miss.
So for land and transport, a copy of the LTFRB certificate of franchise or authorizations for tourist car or bus service. A copy of the transportation rates as approved by LTFRB. For water transport, a copy of certificate of public convenience and necessity issued by the Maritime Industry Authority. A copy of the transportation rate as approved by the Maritime Industry Authority. For air transport, a copy of the CPCN issued by the CAB, a copy of the transportation rate as approved by the CAB. So, next slide. Seatbelt law. A seatbelt law was enacted to ensure and safeguard its citizenry, particularly the passengers and drivers of private and public motor vehicles, from ruinous and extremely injurious effect of vehicular accidents. So the reason why we have this what we call seatbelt law is because it is for the safety of everyone who is using the vehicle or for transportations. Like we don't know, like if we are having a long trip or something and we are using a vehicle, so it is very important that we have this what we call seatbelt law.
So I'm the next reporter. So my topic this evening is all about a law on transportation of animals. So in Republic Act number 8485, it says, or also known as an Animal Welfare Act of 1998. So it shall be the duty of any operator of any land, air, or water or public utility transportation such as like pets, wildlife, and all the other animals to provide in all cases adequate, clean, and sanitary facilities for those conveyance and delivery thereof to their consign at the place of confinement. So these animals shall be provided a sufficient food and water while in transit for more than 12 hours or whenever necessary. So this law states that all animals must be transported by public utility, so it must be provided with clean and sanitary facilities as well as sufficient ang ilahang tubig at ilahang pagkaon sa mga animals. So the law is a design to protect animals from cruelty and suffering during sa transportation. So it is very important to note that the law applies to all animals, including mga pets, livestock, and wildlife. Sorry. So, if you see an animal being transported in a way that nag-violates sa law, so you can report it to the Bureau of Animal Industry or BAI. So
because they will be the responsible for enforcing the law on transportation of animals. So the Bureau of Quarantine has required the following documents to be presented before shipping permit will be issued. So there are two. The first one is the certified of rabies vaccination for not less than 30 days. So this requirement says that kani nga first nga requirement is nagtalk na siya about sa in place to prevent the spread of rabies sa usa ka animals or deadly virus that can infect both animals and humans. So the rabies can be transmitted through the bite of an infected animal. So it is very important to ensure that all animals are being shipped are vaccinated against the virus. So next is for agricultural animals, a certificate of clearance from the Coggan test and FMD or food and mouth disease test is required. So the Coggan test is used to diagnose or infectious anemia. So a viral disease that can affect horses, donkeys or zebras. Or so ang FMD is a highly contagious viral disease jud siya. So maka-affect ni siya sa sheep like goats and swine. So ang kaninga document or these documents may vary depending sa species of animal being shipped sa usa ka destination or sa usa ka country. So it is very important to note that ang kaning mga requirements for shipping animals are designed to protect both the animals and the public. So by following these requirements, so you can help to ensure that your animal has safe. So next slide please. On the other hand, if a person planning to bring any animal into the Philippines from abroad, so you must apply in writing for an important permit at the following address. The first one is the Director or the Bureau of Animals Industry, and the second is the Visayas Avenue or Quezon City, Philippines, and lastly, the Attention or the Animal Health Division. So on the other hand, if a person planning to bring any animal into the Philippines from abroad, so you must apply in writing for an important permit at the following address. The first one is the Director or the Bureau of Animals Industry, and the second is the Visayas Avenue or Quezon City, Philippines, and lastly, the Attention or the Animal Health Division. So next is Law on Importation of Vehicles. So Republic Act number 7227 allows the free flow of goods and capital within the Subic Bay, Freeport in Subic Province of Zambales in order to attract investors to invest their capital in a business climate with the least government intervention. So this means that the vehicles can be imported into the Subic Bay, Freeport without paying customs, duties, and taxes. So next is under the Philippine Clean Air Act of 1999, so any imported new or local assembled new motor vehicle shall not be registered at the LTO. So it excuse me. So it prohibits that the registration of any imported new or local assembled in new motor vehicle at the Land Transportation Office or the LTO, so unless it meets the emission standards that's set by the law. And next is under the Republic Act number 8750, known as the Seatbelt Use Act of 1999. So it shall be unlawful for any person to import or cause the importation of any vehicle without appropriate and operational seatbelts device. So meaning, so it requires all imported vehicles to have a appropriate and operational seatbelt devices. So in addition of the above laws, so there are the other regulations that govern the importation of vehicles into the Philippines. So this includes regulations that are set by the Bureau of Customs and the LTO. So next slide please. For my last assigned topic is all about the public service laws. So public service includes every person who may own, operate, manage, or control in the Philippines for hire or compensation with general, whether permanent occasional or accidental, and as well as done for the general business purposes, any common carrier, railroad or street railway, traction railway, subway motor vehicle, steamboat, or steamship line, ferries, and water aircrafts. So meaning, ang kaning public service laws in the Philippines are very important because they help to ensure the consumers have access to safe, reliable, and affordable services. So these laws also help to protect the environment and to promote as well as sustainable development. So that would be the end of my report. Thank you. Next reporter, please.
So, a continuation of our report, we are going to the traffic laws. So, here, Republic Act number 4136, which was enacted on June 20, 1964, is a compilation relative to traffic rules and regulations. So, in this specific Republic Act, we will know what are the functions or the traffic rules and regulations here in the Philippines. So here, number 1, we have no motor vehicle shall be used or operated on or upon any public highway of the Philippines unless the same is properly registered at the LTO. So sabotable man kayo na siya no, nga no motor vehicles or cars or any kinds of motor vehicles na mo operate here in the Philippines without the register or the license of the LTO. Kay naman na siya consequences because it is a law. So ignorance of the law is excuses no one man. So here, number 2, tourists bringing their own motor vehicles to the Philippines may, without registering such motor vehicles, use the same during but not after 90 days. So, those mga tourists na magdala sila o kaugalingon nila motor vehicles or own sakyanan, okay ra na sila nga mogamit sa ilahang vehicles for 90 days. Beyond 90 days na ni, kinahanglan dyan na sila modool, I think, sa LTO to follow up or to kanang muas sila what to do for their in order for the motor vehicles nga magpadayon gihapon ng ilahang operation. And then number 3, for public utility automobiles, application for registration shall be accompanied by a certificate of public convenience, and motor vehicles registered shall be subject to the public service law. So here, not just own or mga private cars ang kinahanglan po og LTO. Also, the public utilities such as like mga buses, mga taxis, mga public transportation. Because para masayran jud valid ang ilahang pag-operate and nindot sila og objective in operating their own public utility or vehicle. And then number 4, no person shall operate any motor vehicle without first procuring a license. So here, kinahanglan jud unta nga mga driver na ay lisensya kay dili sa ingon nga na ay lisensya kay para mag-abat-abatan na lang sa kung asa ang dakop, but in the sense manggod nga kinahanglan jud nga na ay lisensya because it is valid manggod nga you are truly a professional driver. So bisag naa kay lisensya nga suspended or invalid or unsa revoked, it is not reason for you nga mag-drive jud ka og sakyanan. Kinahanglan jud nga naa kay license nga current year or kanang dili siya ay kanang valid siya. Yes, for you to operate a motor vehicle. And then number 5, the person operating any vehicle shall allow more passengers or more freight or cargo in his vehicle. So kini example of this is kanang mga beep or kanang mga modern jeepney. I don't know if what is its registered capacity, but we all know nga kung unsa kadaghan ang mga tao nga manakay ana nga modern jeepney nga halos magsuot tanang tao kay na nag-iluganay na usa kay that is one of the apan nga ni here in the Philippines, cause though naatay nakita nga mga na wala man sa tayo laing mabuhat because people are going home naman, rush hour naman, so kinahanglan yung magdasok, but supposed to be here in RA number 4136 dili jud unta sila mo lapas sa kung unsay registered capacity nga gisabutan nila sa LTO. And then number 6, every vehicle must be provided with sufficient car accessories like tires, brakes, horns, headlights, taillights, stoplight, windshield wipers, mufflers, and lights. Okay. Of course, here in the Philippines, daghan man jud tag mga stoplights, and then any directions or left ba or right, or are just going to stop there for a minute, inana. So if without headlights, kanang naa sa likod nimo, dili intaw na sila magtagna-tagna kung asa ka punta. Kinahanglan yun nga kumpleto ka og car accessories for them also nagasunod nimo sa imong motor vehicle nga kanang magdumdum pud kung asa ka padung or kung mo left ba ka niya sila mo straight, so they will know what to move, how to move, no, kanang kung asa sila padung or unsaon na nila pag direction ilang sakyanan nga makaadto sila sa ilahang destinasyon. So manay purpose nga nung kinahanglan jud o mga car accessories. That is the Republic Act number 4136. And then next is the restriction as to speed. So kinahanglan jud pod nga do na atay motor vehicles, kinahanglan pod nga limitahan pod nato atong speed, because highways pero kinahanglan man pod tang maghinay-hinay kay highways are prone to the accident. So kita nga mga drivers kinahanglan jud ta nga maghinay-hinay. So we have the maximum allowable speed here on open country roads with no blind corners, not closely bordered by habitation. So passenger cars and motorcycles, you can drive your car for 80 km per hour. So kanang mga motor trucks naman and buses, we have 50 km per hour. And then on through streets or boulevards, clear traffic with no blind corners. In passenger cars and motorcycles, we have 40 km per hour, and motor trucks and buses, we have 30 km per hour. So on city naman and municipal streets with light traffic, in the passenger cars and motorcycles, kinahanglan nila mag-speed og 30 km per hour, also with the motor trucks and buses. And through crowded streets, like for example, Colon, like that, kinahanglan mudagan ang mga passenger cars and motorcycles for 20 kilometers per hour, and then motor trucks and buses for 20 kilometers per hour. So another Republic Act number 10916, or an act the mandatory installation of speed limiter in public utility and certain types of vehicles are required in public transportation vehicles to have a speed limiter. So as what I have known, series bus tours have their own speed limiter before. Kay diba, if kung mo sana kusog na nila sila, or like moabot na nga ni sa limit sa speed limiter, mutingo dyan na siya, like mo beep dyan na siya. But but now currently that nga magsay ko biyahe to my hometown, makabantay ko sa mga series bus tours nga medyo nahimo na silang murag sunrays ang ilang pagdagan, kay wala naman ko na dunggan nga speed limiter sa ilahang during the biyahe. So I don't know if until now they still have the speed limiter, but what I have known before, naadyo na sila. So here in RA number 10916, kinahanglan jud unta nga ang public utility na ay mga speed limiter, kay kung wala nga ni sila speed limiter, they will need to comply for 18 months if kung na sila na ay law or na ay kanang document sa ilahang pag-franchise, sa ilahang operate, yes, pag-franchise sa ilahang operation, it will take 18 months nga kinahanglan nila makakomply. And then, if ever nga wala pa sila speed limiter, they will not given a chance to register again or given franchise permit, and the operators and the owners will be fined for 50,000 pesos. And then here in the first offense, driver's license will be suspended for a month and the franchise permit for 3 months if kung first offense na wala dyan sila speed limiter. And then second offense naman, a driver's license will be suspended for 3 months and 6 months naman for franchise suspension. And if kung third offense na dyan, like ikatulo na dyan nga warning, a revocation of license and suspension of the franchise for at least a year. So offenders can be imprisoned for 6 to 36 months and fined pa jud with 30,000 pesos. So restrictions on overtaking and passing. So kini, this is my favorite part kay overtaking and passing unta, dili jud unta na sila kinahanglan or di jud na dapat unta sa dalan unless na ay particular nga broad line, broken line I think, nga kinahanglan na okay na sila nga mo overtake. If you have the license, mas makasabot, mas nakasabot jud mo nga na jud restrictions on overtaking. So here, the driver of a vehicle shall not drive to the left side of the center line of a highway in overtaking or passing another vehicle proceeding in the same direction unless such left is clearly visible. So here, I will share my story lang nga. I have this friend nga naingon siya nga as a driver, kahibalo jud sila or musali jud sila sa ilang instinct nga kanang sakyanan na ma-overtaken jud na nila. So ako naman niya as a passenger, di ba, if kung overtaking nga ni, kuyaw naman dyan na, kaya daga naman dyan ang accident nga ina na overtake. But, kaya lagi, salig ta sa driver. So, kinahanglan na lang putang mo salig. Sino kung overtake na sila, but, naman dyan na sila, particular place kung ano sa dyan na sila mo overtake. And what is states in the statement here nga, pwede ra siya mo overtake unless the left side is clear or clearly ako nang visible, wala yung mga sakyanan nga padong. And then here is the parking prohibition. So no driver shall park a vehicle or permit it to stand upon a highway. Also in these following places: within the intersection, on the crosswalk, within 6 meters of the intersection of curb lines, within 4 meters of the driveway entrance to and fire station, within 4 meters of fire hydrant, in front of the private highway, on the roadway side of the vehicle stops or park at the curb or edge of the highway, and at any place where official signs have been erected prohibiting parking. Example of this is the current news lang happen sa Argao katong doktor working in the DOH, and naunta siya sa Bulhoon naka-assign, but suddenly because feel na ko nakatulog jud to nga nagbiyahe niya because of the truck sad nga naka-park in the sideway of the highway. So yeah, accident happened jud siya because I just don't know, because the truck there is just parked lang sa side, and then I don't know because Argao is 4 lanes naman ata na. So, dako na jud kayo siya sa right side dapit. Kaso lang, accident happened jud. So, nainato jud siya. So, kanang mga trucks sa unta, kinahanglan punta na sila hatagan o particular place nga parkan because kapoy baya jud og biyahe niya. Because of the truck ban, mohunod jud na sila sa specific place kung asa na sila. Kay di man siya pwedeng magpadayon sa biyahe kay truck ban man. Nay possibility nga yes, madakpan jud na sila, and suspension and consequences will come, especially for the driver nga nanginabuhi ra in town, and to also for the company nga ilang gitrabahoan. And then here, driving or parking on sidewalk, no person shall drive or park a motor vehicle upon or along any sidewalk. Yes, that's what I talked about earlier. And then here, driving and substance intake. So no person or driver shall drive under the influence of liquor and narcotic drug. I'll share everything to you later on. I can explain it to you later on. And then obstruction of traffic. So no person shall drive his motor vehicle in such manner as to obstruct or impede the passage of any vehicle, like obstruction of traffic. Example ani is kanang mga jeepney drivers nga magpanaog lang siya og passenger in the middle of the road. So maka-distract na siya sa mga nagsunod in town ng mga vehicles sa likod. So, di jud unta na siya pwede loading and unloading in appropriate places. So, here, duty of driver during an accident. So, dili, as what I have said, dili jud malikayan nga walay aksidente sa dalan. So, here, if ever nga you're nahingtundan ka sa isa ka aksidente, a person's driving a motor vehicle in the highway should be present and show his his or her driver's license, the true name of the owner of the motor vehicles, and also to the na biktima or the other side kung kinsay na nahingtungdan. Yes, in ana kay dili jud na siya basta-basta nga naay aksidente sa dalan. Kinahanglan jud na siya proper document kay para mailhan kung kinsay sad-an or unsay kinahanglang buhaton after the accident. But no motor driver of a motor vehicle concerned in a vehicular accident shall leave the scene without aiding the victim, except if he is in imminent danger of being seriously harmed by any persons by reason of the accident, if he reports the accident to the nearest officer of the law, and if he has to summon a physician or nurse to aid the victim. So, kinahanglan dyan na dili dyan ka mo leave sa scene sa aksidente, because ikaw man po'y usa sa saksi, ikaw man po'y naay mga witness, ikaw mo'y daghang mastorya about what happened to the accident. So here, laws regulating tricycles, pedicabs, kalasas, and other related provisions under the Local Government Code 1991. So, laws regulating mga tricycles, kasagaran na naana is naana sa municipality or any cities lang, specifically here sa small barangays lang inana. The Department of Transportation and Communication gives the local government unit the power to regulate tricycles, pedicabs, and kalasas, or any, like for example, e-bike. Yes, to kanang to regulate kung asa na sila kinahanglang muagi para less po ang traffic nga ma-experience sa ubang mga owner sa motor vehicles, like sa highway kay kasagaran, di ba, ang mga highway karon kay kasagaran kay wala na kayo mga tricycles, because it's because of this law. Nga nag-regulate or nag-limit nila sa mga tricycles nga mag-operate sa highway. Though nag-operate na sila, pero dito na lang dapit sa mga iskina dito dapit, layo siya sa highway. And then here, we talked about drivers that will never operate a motor vehicle under the influence of the alcohol. So here we have the Anti-Drunk and Drug Driving Act of 2013. So persons who are driving under the influence of alcohol, dangerous drugs, and similar substances will be penalized. Kinahanglan dyan na unta na sila nga dili gyud man ta mag-drive if kung mahubog or nakainom. And this in this Anti-Drunk and Drug Driving Act, it states here nga if ever nga masakpan mo, kinahanglan mo take sa field sobriety test and chemical test by the law enforcement officers. Kay if ever nga masakpan mo or gidudahan mo nga nakainom mo, on the spot dyan na sila nga mo take og test for you to determine if kung nakainom ba jud ka or naka-drug ba ka or whatever. It is supported manggod with the TOTC, the DOH, and the Polcom. So, in addition, LTO shall conduct random terminal inspections also. So, dili ra kay sa mga private motor vehicles, also with the public utility, kanang mga drivers, conductors, and any personals in the terminal. Okay, para mabaw-an jud nga wala ba sila nagtagay during their duties or like that inana. So muna yung importante jud ang anti-drunk, and I've experienced po nga akong mga kuya, yes, akong mga kuya, and me also, mga palahubog man jud me. So far, may nga ni, thank God, nga ikapila na nina akong kinabuhi. Mag-drive akong kuya nga makatagay, purya buyag, maabot rin gihapon ko sa amo. Nga safe. But though, lagi, because of anti-drunk, di jurunta na siya pwede nga mag-drive, nga hubog. And then, thankfully sad, wala man sad minasakpan, pero mo lagi, if ever man, nga mahubog lagi and then disgrasya, so patay may kay because of this law manggod nga nahubog or like that inana. So here, distracted driving. So RA number 10913, or an act redefining and penalizing distracted driving, will mean that any person who is using their phones in non-emergency cases or needs it for work will be penalized. So, kanang mga, as what I have observed man sad good, akong ate, if kung mag-drive na siya sa iyang motor vehicle, or iyang sakyanan, mag-cellphone na siya if kung stoplight, nasa stoplight, but stop sign, hinana, pero, taw-taw na kay mo na siya, ay, di na lang ako mag-cellphone dahil kay base na masakpan ko. So, I think, sa ako ang huna-huna, base na ay mga camera around there, sa, somewhere sa traffic light siguro nga, makadetermine nga ang mga driver na gamit og cellphone, and then makitaan sa kung sa plate number, so automatic matrace na yung kaasa na sila dapita. So, naama po na sila, diba, sa kanang poster, somewhere sa south or sa north, if kung manguli mo dito nga, no driving while texting. Yes, no driving and texting manata na. Yes, inana. So, if masakpan yan ni ka, nag-drive ka, and then you're using phone, the first offense will be, you will be penalized with a fine of 5,000 pesos. If second offense na nga ni, kaduha na kang warningan, mabayad po dyan ka o 10,000 pesos na ika-third yun ni offense, what dyan ka ni tagam, there will be a suspension of license and you will be fined for 15,000 pesos. But meanwhile, those who are driving public utility vehicles like school buses, mga bus karon, nag-carry sila og flammable or toxic materials like sigarilyo like that, they will be fined for 30,000 pesos, and the license will be suspended for 3 months. So that's all for our report, and thank you for listening.